Congratulations, welcome class of 2024.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome, bienvenidos.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, class of 2024.
So this video hopefully can help a lot of you decide whether you want to commit to Columbia for the next 4 years, or even just some general advice about college and navigating spaces. If you have already decided to come to Columbia, welcome. I think this video can also be very helpful for you. I want to see more content like this. Comment down below to let us know if you guys have any more questions about Columbia or just about college in general, because it's a lot. So yeah, now let's just get started. Let's talk about why you chose Columbia.
So I was very set on going to Amherst College, and I went to their fly-in program, met this kid, Ezequiel, and he was there. He was like, yeah, this is cool, but I really want to go to Columbia. So I was like, why does this kid want to go to Columbia so much? Like, what's up with this place? And he's like, it's just students are involved in a lot of activism and social justice movements and things like that. So I was like, all right, let me look into this place. And then I was looking into Columbia, and it's in New York City. So I was like, yeah, like there's so many opportunities in terms of internships and things to do on campus and getting involved in volunteer organizations.
Well, I'm from like the West Coast, and so I knew I wanted to try something new, and moving to the East Coast was about as far as I could get inside the country. I thought, what better place to move than New York City? It was the greatest university in New York City, so I was like, I'll give it a shot and apply there. And I was lucky enough to get matched.
Really hard. It was actually really hard to decide schools, but ultimately I just followed my gut. Like, even though like the other schools were really appealing, like Columbia just felt so right. You know, like the opportunities given here are like unmatched.
What it came down to was like, of course, financial aid, location. I had my major, so that's like very crucial. And engineering school was top, you know.
Do you think Columbia gives you an opportunity to explore your interests and stuff, especially within your first year? A very good year to explore such things.
I personally feel like since I didn't know what I wanted to major in, it was kind of different. I like that Columbia has like pass-fail options for some classes, because then you can like explore and like it not be a burden on your like GPA. Because I took principles of econ and I absolutely hated it. At least I learned that I didn't want to be econ major.
I'm kind of like an indecisive person, and so I like to like branch out and like try different like things. And so the core will like give you the opportunity to do that.
Something you wish you knew before you committed to Columbia?
I wish that I knew that my fellow classmates and like upperclassmen are some of the best resources that you can have on campus, because they've been here longer than you, they've finessed the system, they've like navigated the waters and everything. And so definitely like make use of that, just like dealing with homesickness or like adjusting to college, or navigate like the financial aid office and other Columbia administrative offices that are here to help us. Sometimes like you might not be aware of what services are available to you, but someone who's been through the same situation or a similar situation can help guide you through that and help you navigate those resources.
Okay, so thoughts about the core.
The core is like one of the most fundamental parts about Columbia. So like if you're applying to Columbia, you have to know about the core. And I think we have like the biggest core curriculum out of any university in like the US. Like we have like, what is it, like 8 required classes? It's like so many. Again, like as you said, it really depends on your major and how you navigate the core, because a lot of core classes can count for your major. Like your core experience is going to be completely depending on the professors. So like no 2 classes are the same, no matter how much Columbia says that. The core experience is like, we're all the same. It's like going to depend on your professors. Some professors are like, this is my life's worth. Like I will make you read every word in this book and we're going to talk about it. You're going to have those professors, and then you're going to have professors, which I've been lucky to have, that have been much chiller, and it's like we're here to like have conversations, we're here to discuss. It's much more low stakes, it's much more about the ideas, which I value a lot more.
The C's core is different. I honestly have enjoyed it for the most part. Like econ, the reason why I'm deciding to minor in econ is because I took econ because of the core and I really enjoy it. I'm
sure a lot of people have with the core, and that like the more I'm like investing myself in it, like reading the literature, it's very Western centric. We don't like that. We love a global education, but Columbia seems to think like the global course should be saved as like an afterthought, like 2 classes at least, like an elective. I would say it's kind of silly, but I guess it's something you have to endure, like a year of like lit hum reading like only Western literature. They got a little better about it. Like we read Toni Morrison, we read some like Virginia Woolf. So there's like women and POC like within it. So it's not like all old white men, but
So the core is very controversial, and with good reason. Basically, every critique of the core as it's too white, it's too Western, it's too all of this are very valid. But at the same time, Columbia sells the fact that it is one of the first universities to have a core curriculum. I definitely support all efforts to diversify the core. It does succeed in giving you a well-rounded education in the sense that you're doing different materials, but at the same time it's very limited in scope in that you're only looking at like European philosophy and art and all that stuff. I like to counteract it with my Caesar major, where I basically study, I like to think like the antidote to the core, where we look at more like African American and Latin American and Asian American philosophy. And there are professors within the core who are critical in their teaching of it. I think the problem is when you're in a classroom and people just sort of buy into what's being read and aren't really critical of the things that they're reading. And if the professor isn't conducive to an environment where you can have that conversation, then I think it's really like a loss.
Just hope that the core doesn't take a toll on whether you guys want to come here.
Like, to deter you from Columbia, this isn't just a Columbia phenomenon. This is like a university thing in general.
So I want to talk a bit about academics.
Okay, in terms of like the rigor, that's definitely there. Like I was not expecting that. My ego was knocked down 100-fold by the time I started doing assignments here. The thing is about Columbia, there's always someone here that's willing to help you. Like you don't have to struggle on your own. You just have to remember that there are people that are willing to be there for you. So
hitting up upperclassmen who are doing your major, or like if you're unsure about like your major, just going to upperclassmen who are doing that and just like asking them questions.
Generally, office hours are good. Teachers or professors are really like available, and they do generally like help you.
Has your identity impacted like the way your experience at Columbia essentially?
When you hear about imposter syndrome, like when I first heard about it, I was like, you know what, that's never like, I'm gonna get through it. But it definitely, it's real, and it's like it can hurt you in some ways. Like you're reading your peers' essay, you're kind of comparing yourself, and that's like something that you want to stray away from, because not everyone had the same experiences as you, especially if you're like first generation low income student. Like you have to remind yourself that you're there for a reason. You deserve to be there. You and that other student both made it to Columbia, so
you're all sitting in the same table.
Me being Black and African and Muslim and first generation, like all of those have really been a huge part, like the most important part of my first year. I'm from Brooklyn, right? And like my whole life, I've just gone to schools that were majority Black or majority people of color. So I guess I just gravitated towards that and think that would happen at Columbia since it was a PWI. I don't think that my identity has ever been questioned by like whiteness or anything, because I'm so surrounded by like people that share my identity.
I think it can feel intimidating at first, depending. Everyone has their own experiences differently. It's very weird. It's a very different dynamic.
Yourself, like it's okay to be the only like POC in a space. I like having contacts and support systems, and whether in that class or like outside of it is super important. So I think personal experience with the classes that I've taken, it hasn't been terrible. But I think there are majors that are much less diverse, much wider.
Is there like any clubs or like organizations you want to shout out that you think were like important for you to like find your community?
When you get here, it's no rush. You're gonna find the right people.
I think community is like one of the most important things for college, and I wish I recognized that earlier. More recently, Sabot has been one of the bigger communities that I've been a part of. So what is the Latinx dance group on campus? We're the oldest and the hottest one, and and it's a very nice community. It's like we're obviously very dance oriented, but I think it's one of the nicest communities I've met at Columbia. And like we dance, and it's just a very nice vibe. So definitely try out for Sabot.
Next caucus, of course, it's a great one.
Like WKCR is a campus radio, and I've met such cool people. Having that time slot where we just like chill, play music together has been another great part of like fostering community.
Like being creative and trying to find community outside of academics, I think is very important.
Extra, it's a good one too. It's like Society of Physics students, but for POC and women and, you know, inclusivity. It's pretty cool.
ESA is really lit, which is the African Student Association. BSO, there's CSA, which is the Caribbean Students Association. MSA, which is the Muslim Students Association. Like all of these different clubs have so many events that you can go to. Like it's kind of hard for me to feel like you won't feel welcome, because there's going to be a lot of people that share your identity and that embrace it and do all these fun things.
CMI is very good. I love CMI. That was one of the best decisions I made.
CMI is the Columbia Mentoring Initiative. They have different trees. Nate and I are part of the Latinx tree, and that's how we met. So that just goes to show that this really be a cool club if you want to join.
Just finding groups on campus, there's gonna be a group. Like for you, there's gonna be multiple.
What are y'all thoughts on freshman housing?
The fact that we all live on Southfield together and you're constantly running into your friends is so nice. The fact that our dorms itself are like so much better than the sophomore dorms.
Yeah, freshman housing and senior housing is the best housing you guys will get.
Yeah, I am grateful and I'm glad that I got a single this year because the likelihood of getting a single as a sophomore is not that high. But I also know that there are people that want like that typical college experience and do want roommates.
That's a good point I want to comment on. Don't listen to people about that traditional experience. If you can get a single, go for it. Try to get the single. I could deal with the roommate, but I think it was just very overwhelming to deal with like basically 3 roommates if you live in Carmen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm against it because I loved my bathroom. I know there's situations where people literally can't live. Like I hate their roommate, hate their suite. And
So I think if you move from Carmen to John Jay.
Yeah, so people move. So like if possible, I would say advocate for the single.
Definitely Carmen is a social dorm. Like there's people coming in and out of Carmen all the time.
The one I lived in was Carmen Hall with corridor style suites. Yeah, so Carmen was cool. I met some of my best friends there just because I got put in a really cool suite. Generally, I would probably prefer a double than a single just because it's cool having someone to talk to at the end of the day. Most of the floors are renovated, so it looks very hotel. It's very cool.
It's super bougie. It's like the bougiest dorm. Like literally, we were spoiled.
You can make any dorm you really want, like social. Because I know like John Jay was really lit sometimes.
It's great because it is a social dorm. It's very social. Our lounge would be so full during the weekdays, weekends of like people just hanging out doing homework.
People who don't even live in John Jay would go to John Jay Lounge.
Yeah.
I purposefully put Carmen as my first choice, or Carmen Double as my first choice, because I knew that like having a single probably wouldn't be the best like thing for me, especially my freshman year when you're trying to make friends, when you're trying to like, like you need to build that social like foundation. I loved having a double.
I want to talk about finals week at Columbia.
Because like Columbia is like notorious for stress culture. Like they have that list and we're like number 2 in the country after Stanford. But honestly, I feel like if you find your right community, it all depends on the people you surround yourself with and how confident you are in yourself. Final season, I think remember to shower, remember never sacrifice food and sleep.
Yeah, people always complain about how Columbia is very stressful, but like I said, it is what you make of it. I prefer not to have that kind of like environment, and so we don't manifest that.
I really liked like the different events that Columbia had. Like I personally think that Columbia does take like the well-being of their students really seriously, and they show that by like hosting all of these events and stuff. And of course, like more can be done for like mental health, but like I was like really appreciative of like things they were doing.
I think that obviously like college is stressful. You're transitioning from like high school to college, so that adds on to the stress a little bit in your freshman year. In terms of like competitiveness, I don't really feel that as much. I feel like everyone's in their own lane, like everyone's doing what they gotta do. Definitely had some stressful moments when I just like had to stop doing work like immediately and just like read for 2 seconds. And I know I use the excuse of self-care a lot, and like it's a valid excuse. Like you need to take care of yourself.
What are your thoughts on the dining hall?
Got like number 1 in the country.
I think dining hall food is great, to be honest.
Good. If you're a picky eater, don't worry. Like there's a lot of options.
So the food I really like. So don't worry about the food. There's always something. JJ's is open 22 hours a day, basically 24 hours. So you're always gonna have something to eat.
Wait, Nate, let me see your shirt real quick. Is that a Questbridge shirt I see? Wow.
A lot of like first generation low income organizations that I am a part of, like there's Columbia FLI, like first and low income.
Yeah, they be giving out jackets and like people who need them.
Fridays lunch things, and you get like free food from around like Harlem and stuff. Because like the Questbridge network, even if you're not part of like or completely involved in it, there's a lot of other places you can look for like first and low income support. That's where I met a lot of other students like in my like socioeconomic situation, I guess.
Someone asked you like what's the social life like? What would you say?
Oh, the social life is great. Like I would personally say like it's really great.
Again, I think it really depends on your circle. Columbia isn't known to be a party school, We do have parties. There are different like party scenes. There's like more like the POC party scene, which is like CASA, and the IRC, the Intercultural Resource Center, has their parties too. And then there's like the non-POC party scene, communities you could be a part of. But I think you could definitely find your scene, even if you're not into parties. There's like orgs you can like be a part of, and there's like socials for that.
To that point, like you're in the city, so it's like
Yes.
if you don't want to freaking go party, I think that's one good thing about being in the city. Because even if like you don't take the train, like there's still like a good amount of things to do around
Right.
the area.
The area itself, right?
Special interest community, and basically those are residential communities on campus that you can apply to live once you're a sophomore. There's a couple different ones, like interest-based and then multicultural. So we have the intercultural, we have Manhattan House for Native students. There's Casa Latina for Latinx identifying students. Casa Latina for me, when I was a freshman, was somewhere that I could go and like hang out, do homework. It's where I could go to party and hear Bad Bunny. It was great. People can just stop by and hang out and have a space to just get away from academics or whatever, and just have a space to breathe and chill amongst other people who have similar backgrounds or different backgrounds, and being able to share that with each other.
Alright everyone, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And also big thank you to anyone who agreed to be in this video and everyone featured in the video. I wasn't able to include everyone's interview because I didn't do everyone's interview because these past few days I haven't been able to sleep that well. I don't know if you guys can tell. Quarantine is starting to get to me. I've been up thinking a lot. So I hope you guys are all doing okay, and I don't know, I was just really tired and I want to take this video up before May 1st. If you guys want to see a part 2, let me know and I'll be more than glad to film that for you all. Comment down below if you guys have any more questions. Make sure to subscribe. Once again, congratulations. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. But like I said, in order to see y'all in my next video, y'all need to subscribe. So make sure to click that subscribe button if you want to keep seeing my face, even if it's tired and all. But also I have mascara. This is just a mess. I'm gonna go clean my face and go to bed. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and los veo in my next one.